need? Do we need to augment it somehow with bypass or makeup systems? What are the codes, regulations, contaminants, and how do we handle them? And what's a life cycle management plan? So that's kind of the message. Uh, I have looked at water quality this way in the past. There's filtration, treatment, sanitation for various end uses and potential for likely human contact. So high, likely, medium, low, I should say maybe, not medium. Anyway, each type of end use is going to have perhaps a different way of looking at it. And so we need to know what those are up front in order to establish what our system is going to look like. So it's kind of a, looking at it from the design standpoint, you got to know where you're going when you start out and not say, oops, we should have been there. And now we have a standard. When I talked to the guys in Moncton, this had not been, what shall we say, advertised as available. And so just in the last week or two, this has come out. And I've got some information from it I thought I could share with you if we still got another 5 minutes or so. The first is it creates end-use tiers and then the different end uses. So there's 3 non-potable sections and 1 potable section. And each one of them varies in what the uses are based on exposure. So ingestion, inhaling, skin contact, and kind of an overall thing. And whether it's rare, whether it's unlikely, possible, likely, or certain. And those things are rated in this standard to say, this is the things that we have to determine in working on the design of the system, and especially this applies to systems that are multifamily, systems that are commercial and large size. Second thing it does is it gives an idea of the exposure potential for those different end-use tiers, and then establishes performance criteria for the viruses, bacteria, protozoa, the pH level, and so on, which I'm not giving all the answers here to that because it's just too complicated or too more involved. But that information is there. Then it also gives prescriptive requirements for post-storage treatment. So UV infiltration that goes along with it, or disinfection and filtration that goes along with it, or perhaps to micro and ultrafiltration. And in total, this new standard is a standard for Canada. It's actually international, but it is something that we now have to put our teeth into, I think, that will help rainwater harvesting move forward. The thing I like most about it, and I think that's probably one of its biggest assets, is the water safety plan. And what actually happens is every instance of rainwater harvesting system is evaluated for the site, for potential contaminants, what the end uses are, exposures and consequences of exposure, and risk assessment. And if untreated water is going to be okay for the end use, then it goes and is submitted for approval as such. On the other hand, if the water needs treatment, there's a process design, there's control points, and how this is all done, and then that is incorporated into the design and submitted for approval. So this is the design phase as it starts out. Once things have gone and been approved, it goes to an installing and testing phase where things are manufactured, put together. I guess that's assembled, installed, and then tested with verification samples, and the risk assessment based on what the design criteria is and seeing how things are actually working. Next phase, of course, is if it doesn't work, if there are problems, if it's not up to par, if something is not working, whether it could be a pump, it could be a conveyance system, it could be something in the water quality, and I think this is more focused on the water quality. It goes back to more testing and more assessment until things are okay. So once they're okay and acceptable, it goes into operation. And that continued monitoring is the place where we see how the long-term effects of collecting the rainwater can be beneficial for us.